of Willow Creek. Yes, those days at Willow Creek I'm gonna remember, for they were the very best days of my life. That's when I discovered this music that is me, playing for the rocks and trees down at Willow Creek. Well, my mom and my dad, they were the best a man could have, and they always stood beside me all the way. They loved me just enough to know when to get tough, but they never missed a chance to hear me play. Yes, those days at Willow Creek I'm gonna remember, for they were the very best days of my life. That's when I discovered this music that is me, playing for the rocks and trees down at Willow Creek. Well, Daddy's gone on home now, my mama went away. She said without my daddy there was no reason to stay. Part of me still lives there, I know there'll always be magic and music flowing down at Willow Creek. Yes, those days at Willow Creek I'm gonna remember, for they were the very best days of my life. That's when I discovered this music that is me, playing for the rocks and trees down at Willow, playing for the rocks and trees down at Willow, playing for the rocks and trees down at Willow Creek.
Well, there you have it. It's called Willow Creek. That's by Bill Abernathy. Bill, come on in here and say hello to everybody.
Hey, how we doing today, guys?
We're doing great. How about yourself?
I'm just living the dream here in Kansas City. It's cold, it's rainy, it's November, but you know, it could be worse.
We'll be happy to share some of our weather. John's got 80 something and steamy humid, and I'm out in the Phoenix Tempe area where it's 80 something and dry as a bone. So I'll be happy to share some of my warm, dry weather with you. But we're glad to have you here, and we want to thank our good friend Michael at MTS Promotions for getting us together with you. We found out you have a new album out, and we said, hey, got to get this guy on the show, and what better time to do it than when he's promoting the new album. But before we get into that and your music, I understand from John Bon Jovial, having talked to you for a moment before we came on live, that you've got a veterans memorial there in Kansas City that's pretty special.
Yeah, it is. It's actually one of the best tourist attractions in Kansas City if you're into that kind of thing. It's a large spire, if you would, that is a memorial to the World War I veterans. And then underneath it, actually underground, is a museum where you could go and see a lot of the things that were saved and some historical artifacts that came from World War I. What I was excited about, and what John and I were talking about earlier.
I've never had the privilege of getting into Kansas City. I would definitely like to, and would especially like to be there to see this. I'm sure it's impressive, and what a great thought. You're right. Saluting our veterans, primarily, originally from the First World War, the war to end all wars, which unfortunately it did not, and then to salute, as you said, all the veterans who have have given us this great country that we have and preserved it all these years. Thank you for that. And getting back to your music and your new album, Crossing Willow Creek, first thing I want to clear up here, I understand that the album was released as we were putting together having you on the show, so it is now available, correct?
Yes, Crossing Willow Creek is out there, available in essentially every one of the markets that you can get, iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, all those places. You can also reach out to me on my website, which is BillAbernathy.com. And if you want to order a CD from me, then I would autograph that and send that out with a personal note of thanks to anyone that would do that. So it's out there, and seems to be, for actually being on the market one day, it seems to be to start to pick up a little bit of steam. I know that the folks at MTS are going to do a great job promoting it, so I'm excited about it. It's kind of a fun project. Has been a fun project from the beginning. Yeah.
Well, very good. And there you go, listeners. Chance to not only get the new album, but to get it autographed with a personal message from the man himself, from Bill Abernathy. So check it out at BillAbernathy.com. I wanted to get into your background a little bit for folks that might not be familiar with you. Now, you were a songwriter when you were younger, and then life came along and sort of interrupted everything. But you got married, you had a totally separate career, you raised a family, and now the kids are on their own, and you grabbed a guitar and started getting back into music, and it kind of rekindled those thoughts. How did that work out for you? Not only how, I mean, most of us understand that life presents all these wonderful challenges to us, but how did you deal with that, especially the part about when you decided, hey, I might want to get back into my music?
Well, it actually evolved from the song that you just played, if you'd really like to know. When I was younger, high school, college age, I played a lot and traveled a lot and did a lot of that. Ended up having a bit of a problem with some vocal nodes, and went and got a real job while that was healing up. And that real job is now, I've been with that company now for 41 years.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I'm a dinosaur. I'm one of those guys. I've had the...
No, I salute you.
Forever. Well,
I salute you, man. That's very unusual in this day and age.
Yeah, well, I see it as a testimony of poor management that they kept me around that long. But
well, I don't know about that, but we could.
I went there. Yeah, I went there, worked my way up, and got married, had kids. Both of my kids were. I have a daughter and a son. Both of them were really big-time athletes in their youth. And if you've been involved in youth, high school, and collegiate sports at all, you realize that you have no time for anything other than the kids. So very fortunate that they were given a lot of opportunities. Both of them were All-Americans multiple times through college. Awesome. And so that spent, obviously that took quite a bit of time. Following them around, watching them play wouldn't change a minute of it. But it did not allow for a lot of time with music. So when they had graduated and moved on with their lives and started their careers, I kind of went back and, over time, if you're a songwriter, I think that you continue to write songs, right? Or you write thoughts. And
absolutely,
over
sure.
time, yeah. So I went back and started digging through some notes and some songs that I had written, and decided that I had a pretty good group of songs, and I thought, well, I'll just go make an album and we'll just see what it's like, because it's been so long, since I had really done any real music stuff. And so we went in and we recorded an album that we called Changes, and did it purely acoustic. It was kind of my rule that I wanted to do it purely acoustic. And so the song Willow Creek was actually the opening song on that album, and it did pretty well. I mean, it got out there a little bit, got a little bit of airplay, won a couple of independent music awards, that kind of thing. And it kind of made me think, maybe I should do this. Maybe this would be fun. And so from then, I've just kind of been focusing on the both sides of my life. I have the business world, which is what I do for my company, and then I have the music world, which is kind of what I do for me. So, since then we produced the second album, which is the Find a Way album, which is actually based on a quote from my father, who was since we brought up veterans, I'm just going to go there. My dad was in the 82nd Airborne in World War II, and
thank you for his service.
Three Purple Hearts, and was a German POW for a bit. Ended up being an honor guard for Patton, and I wrote the song "Find a Way" about one of the things that my dad always told me. He always used to tell me that he would say, "Bill, if you want something bad enough in life, and you're willing to put together the blood, sweat, tears, and toil, you can always find a way to make it happen." And that was the title cut for the Find a Way album. It was all about
very wise man, and well said. Before we run out of time, I want to give you time to talk about the new album. I want to thank you for answering one of my questions, which would have been to tell the people how they can find you. You did that very well. Tell us about the album. We got a couple of minutes left. Tell the folks about the album, the music, and the thoughts that went into it, of course, and specifically about the next track we're going to play, Love's in Vain.
Oh, Love's in Vain, great song. I wish I'd written it. Well, the Crossing Willow Creek album is really a redo of the Changes album. So we were preparing live shows for promotion for the Find a Way album, and we started playing around with some of these really acoustic bass tunes that we had put on the first album, and it just kind of evolved from there into saying, man, let's go in and re-record these songs, put some different musical voicings on them, and see what we come up with. And that's really, I threw in a couple of cover songs, which The Love in Vain is one of them, and a new song that I had written. That's really where that came from, kind of a live practice session for the follow-up tours for Find a Way. But Love's in Vain is a very special song for me. So there was an artist back in the 70s, early 80s named Jimmy Spirit, somewhat obscure. Somewhat obscure, who passed. He was killed in a motorcycle accident very, very early in his career. And I've always been a fan of his music, and I've always wanted to cover some of his songs. And one day I was just sitting around plunking around and thought, well, I wonder what this one's like. And of course, he was quite a guitar player. So as we recorded the guitar parts on that, I got the lovely event of twisting my fingers in knots to make it happen. But an absolutely beautiful song. And I hope that the folks that are Spears fans can understand that we treated it a little bit differently, not so much, but a bit. And I hope that they can relate to the take that we took on that song. But
I think they're going to like it. I think they're definitely going to like it. You're absolutely right about Jimmy Spears. I remember him from back in the mid-'70s when I was in the Tampa market, and fell in love with his music, and was very sad to hear in later life when we lost him way too soon. But want to take this moment to thank you for coming by and sharing a little bit of your story with us, and of course your music, and to wish you all the best. Also, remember, you've always got a home here. You're part of our family now, so keep in touch with us. Let us know what's going on, and we'll be happy to spread the word for you. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Billy Abernathy from his new album, Crossing Willow Creek. Here's a tune called Love's in Vain.